grand shocking return is an old tradition at the WWE. We're sad whenever a wrestler leaves or retires, but at the same time, there's an expectation in the back of our minds that they'll be back soon enough. 2022 has been an especially big year for crazy comebacks ever since Triple H took the reins. In this video, we're counting down 10 of the most shocking WWE returns. We'll start with Bobby Lashley, who's still in the company and wearing the US Championship. Lashley began his wrestling career in the WWE in 2005, and he sure cut a figure. While he never made it to main event status, he was a solid performer and a good source of sports entertainment. In his short tenure at WWE, he had runs as both the United States Champion and the World Champion of the revived ECW. He left the company in 2008, and while he was destined to come back, it only happened in 2018, 10 years later. Since then, Lashley has become a prominent wrestler at the company, having held 3 championship runs, including the big one. Next, we'll look at the surprise return of Nikki Bella. Bella joined the WWE in 2007 with her sister Brie. It didn't take long for her to end up in the women's division of the main roster. Teaming up with her sister, the Bella twins made a splash in the WWE, working on SmackDown, Raw, and even Next. But in 2012, they decided they wanted to explore their options out of wrestling, and were written off television after being by Eve Torres. She returned to the WWE in 2013. In the final days of the Divas era, Nikki went on to become the longest reigning Divas champion. Her reign lasted until 2015, when she dropped the belt and went on hiatus to recover from a neck injury. Nikki made her grand return on 2016 SummerSlam, teaming up with Natalya and Alexa Bliss in a 6-way tag match against Becky Lynch, Naomi, and Carmella. The highlight of this run was being in the very first Women's Royal Rumble in 2018. A few years later, a cyst was found in her brain, and she retired permanently in 2019. Let's now remember the big return of Ciampa. Tommaso Ciampa was introduced on Next in 2015. 2 years later, after becoming a fan favorite, he was sidelined by a knee injury. Returning to the ring in 2018, Ciampa crushed it on Next and picked up the main title before being forced to take another break, this time due to a neck injury. His most memorable return, which certainly made us pop, was in October 2019, starting up beef with Adam Cole, another legend of the Next brand. He's been on an upward trajectory since being called up to the main roster this year. He's now wrestling on Raw and still entertaining his fans every time he's on screen. Our next return is one of the most iconic in WWE history, the Hardy Boys. So many of the WWE's biggest returns happen on the showcase of the Immortals, and WrestleMania 33 gave us a return that stood out even among other returns, with the Hardy Boys strutting down the ramp to deafening applause. You don't need us to tell you that the Hardy Boys were one of the most iconic tag teams of the Attitude and Ruthless Aggression eras. They put on some of the greatest tag matches of all time, but both brothers fell on hard times in their personal lives, and it looked like their wrestling careers were collapsing. The duo killed it in the WrestleMania match for Raw Tag Team Championship and will later go on to win the titles on SmackDown. That adds up to 8 title reigns on their record. The two of them ended up leaving the WWE though, and are now their rivals at AEW. Now we'll reminisce on the return of Paige. Paige started her dominance of the Next women's division in 2012. It didn't take her long to get called up to the main roster, debuting on Raw in 2014. During her first run in the WWE, she held the Divas Championship among other accomplishments, but her career was cut short by a neck injury in 2016. Her fans went absolutely wild when she stepped into the arena in a 2017 episode of Raw, cutting into the fatal 4-way between Sasha Banks, Mickie James, Bayley, and Alicia Fox. She administered a beating to the women in the ring, with Fox slipping out from under them. Things were off to a strong start before she injured her neck on a house show less than a month later. Paige says that was the end of the line for her, but Tommaso Ciampa said similar things. She might just be back on one of these lists sooner than later. Hey, do you guys smell something? Could it be what The Rock is cooking? The Rock has made an art of grand returns, and every time he does it, the crowd pops so loud. You can't even hear his music over the noise. But his most memorable return might have been in 2011, when WrestleMania 27 opened with his entrance to the ring. At the time, it had been 7 years since The Rock reunited with Mick Foley to lose to Evolution at WrestleMania 20, which turned out to be his final match. It was the cap-off to one of the WWE's most illustrious careers. The hosting gig at WrestleMania 27 might have given The Rock a taste for the WWE Universe's limelight, as he's actually competed a few times since then. Most notably, he and John Cena reminded each other how to take bumps in a feud from 2011 to 2013. Dwayne Johnson may be one of Hollywood's biggest stars right now, but he's never truly left the WWE WWE behind. Alright, it's time to shush up. The head of the table is speaking. It feels like Roman Reigns has been one of the constants of this era of the WWE. Debuting on the main roster in 2012 alongside The Shield, Reigns was shaping up to be the face of the company, whether the fans liked it or not. Y'all remember how unpopular he was because the powers that be were shoving him down our throats. That history is what made Reigns' shock announcement that he was taking a break to fight leukemia, one of the most heartwarming moments of WWE's history. The universe sent him home with the loudest cheers they could muster, and when Reigns returned to the ring in 2019, he was welcomed back with open arms. Reigns has been popular ever since. His tribal chief persona, which lands in the middle of heel and face character, is getting a positive response from the universe. He spent most of his time feuding with Brock Lesnar, and he actually holds both of the company's main titles right now. Speaking of Brock Lesnar, the young and hungry Brock Lesnar first debuted on the WWE in 2002, and while he didn't stay for very long, he's an icon of the ruthless aggression era. So when he returned to the ring and F5 John Cena in 2012, the crowd went wild. All the unrealized potential from Lesnar's first run was about to be fulfilled, but true to the character, he's become pretty divisive with the fans. Some would argue that, as a part-time competitor, Lesnar shouldn't be getting the opportunities he's gotten, but there's no arguing against that list of accomplishments. He's had several championship reigns, and his career will forever be defined by the one thing that no one else ever managed. He broke the Undertaker's streak. As we said, he's currently preoccupied with his feud with Roman Reigns, but that sure seems to be barreling towards a climax right now. Now is the time to talk about Daniel Bryan. Yes, while Bryan had a brief stint on Next in 2009, his career with the company began in earnest in 2010. There he impressed on Next and on the main roster, and he quickly became a fan favorite. Team Hell No was a weird and amazing direction to go with Kane's character, and who can forget the Miracle on Bourbon Street? The universe was crushed when Bryan had to go on hiatus due to an injury, and his return in 2018 was one of the biggest moments in WWE history. He rode the wave of fan adoration to runs with almost all the titles the WWE has right now. The fact that it was Roman Reigns who ended his career in a championship versus career did nothing to help Roman's perception with the fans. Bryan currently wrestles with AEW, which for many people is the new promotion's biggest selling point. Finally, you all know that we gotta cap it with Edge's big return. The rated R superstar was once a mainstay of the WWE. Back in the 2000s, he was one of the most prominent and beloved wrestlers on the roster, with a sick character and excellent in-ring skills. Unfortunately, giving everything you've got to this business can take a toll on your health, and Edge was forced to retire in 2011. While Edge was able to transition into acting, it sure seemed like the end of his wrestling career, and then came the 2020 Royal Rumble match. 10 years from now, we won't even remember who won this match, but we'll remember that Edge made the crowd get on its feet as he stepped out from behind the pyro. Sucks to be the winner, who by the way was Drew McIntyre. Edge has been going strong since he came back. He feuded with Randy Orton, won the next year's Rumble from the first spot, and held the Universal Championship. Those who thought that he rated R for retirement have been proven dead wrong. That's it for today's video. Which WWE return from across history was your favorite? We hope that we didn't leave your favorite off our list. Let us know in the comment section below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.